Okay, again from basic organic chemistry, the question was about about intermediate stability. In that case, you see this. Consider the following compound. They have given free radicals, all are free radicals. They are asking you in which case the hyperconjugation occurs. If you just compare it, you can see that all are being free radical. One is in which see, for hyperconjugation to occur, the next to the any intermediate, we need an alpha carbon, where in which there should be a minimum of one alpha hydrogen. So you can see this. There is no alpha hydrogen because the alpha carbon has been completely blocked out by 3 methyl groups. Now in that case, again there is no alpha hydrogen because all are being 3 benzene group, because if you see the structure in this case, they are all benzene groups. Phenyl, of course it's a benzene, where in which there is no alpha hydrogen because it's a ring carbon, where in which there is no alpha hydrogen was there. It's alpha carbon was there, but there is no alpha hydrogen for any rearrangement to be possibility. But in this case, what happens is, since the radical is here, so there is an alpha hydrogen. You can see this, there is an alpha hydrogen on both the sides. But this alpha hydrogen we can't take into account because being bridge hydrogen, we can't easily remove it because of high steric. There will be no approach of any atom or group on that side. So in that case, you can remove an alpha hydrogen from this side. So there is a minimum of one alpha hydrogen from a less steric side for a hyperconjugation to occur. So hence, this can be removed out and the radical can be placed here. Hence, this has to be the answer. Only third one has an alpha hydrogen from the less steric side, where the hyperconjugation structure is possible. So only the option 3, I need the third only containing option that is there in an option 2. That is answer is in 2. Yeah. Okay. See, more to the question number 27. They have been they're asking which reaction it is. So you may be knowing that if there is an alkoxide displayed and there is an alkyl halide, lower alkyl halides, in which you know that the alkoxide can be a good nucleophile as well as good bases. In that case, it's a bulky nucleophile here. So bulky nucleophile, the moment it attacks, you know, there will be a splitting of positive charge, partial positive, partial negative charge. So it attacks here and the chlorine goes out, being a good leaving group. So this is basically, everyone knows this is Williamson ether synthesis, you call it as. So they have given two names which has been randomly used here, Williamson continuous etherification and Williamson ether synthesis, you call it Williamson synthesis. This can be possible if there is a sulfuric acid. In case, so you add sulfuric acid, maybe some of the sodium alkoxide would have been turned into an alcohol, wherein which the sodium alkoxide and there will be a reaction between an alcohol to give any random sites or products of ether via something like distillation process. So Williamson ether synthesis, this is basically a Williamson ether synthesis, wherein which alkoxide and alkyl halide have been used. This was known to everyone, being during NCERT also, of course, answer 4. Okay, see, I want to the correct question. Question number 28 from coordination compounds. Cobalt 3 chloride forms several octahedral complexes. The clue is several octahedral complexes. That means very clearly indicates, it has complete the question. Several octahedral complexes with ammonia. Which of the following will not give test for the chloride ions with the silver nitrate at 25 degree? They have given a very good clue. Coordination number should be 6 because octahedral complex has been mentioned. Since you are supposed to write all the structure on the basis of coordination number 6. Now, let us start with this. See. Now, they are being giving a clue. In that case, see which, ammonia and chloride both are being ligand here. So it's very clearly given that which of the following will not give test for the chloride ions with silver nitrate. So obviously chloride is going to be outside as well as inside the coordination sphere. It's going to randomly move on. So in that case, silver nitrate has to react with chloride, then when it will precipitate. So you are supposed to draw a structure in which there should be one possibility in which there should not be any chloride ion outside the coordination sphere. All should be inside. Because the moment chlorine was inside the coordination sphere, it was being a ligand, so there will be a metal ligand intact bond. You can't break that bond so easily, and that will not be any responsible for its characteristic test. That is the one characteristic of coordination compound. No ligands are responsible for the characteristic test, as in case of double salt. So the chloride test in this case, you can see this is the first one option. So again, coordination number 6 has been maintained in all the structures. You can see this 6 has been maintained. So this one will give you 1 chloride. It will give you 2 moles of AgCl, it will give 1 mole of AgCl, 3. So this will not give you any AgCl because all the chloride was inside the coordination sphere. So obviously ligand metal bond is intact. So there is no precipitation test for the anions when the anion is in a ligand part. Yeah. Option number 4 was answered. So on to the question number 29, again from a gaseous state. What you can say, number of moles or basic concepts in chemistry. Now, a mixture of gases contain hydrogen and oxygen gases in the ratio of 1:4, weight by weight. What is the molar ratio of the two gases in a mixture? Now, they are asking us to convert weight by weight into moles by moles. Therefore, nothing else. We need to convert a weight ratio into mole ratio. Of course, mole ratio everyone knows, it's weight by molar mass. So, whatever the weight ratio is given, whatever number you subtract, again the ratio has to be remain same. You can take the ratio itself as their weights. So you can take it as a 1 gram for hydrogen, oxygen can be 4 gram can be taken. Then the molar mass of hydrogen everyone knows it's been 2 gram. For oxygen molar mass is 32 grams. So in that case the weight ratio is 1 by 4 and substitute their molar masses. So 1 by 2 by 4 by 32. So in that case if you cancel out it comes to be around 4:1. So that is our option 1. Answer is 1. Okay, so let us see the question number 13. So again, which of the following process does not involve oxidation of iron? Now you know that for oxidation of iron the oxidation number has to change. So in that case you can see 1 by 1 decolorization of blue copper sulfate solution by iron. So in this case what happened? Oxidation number get changed out because it's been clearly given decolorization of copper sulfate. That means copper 2 plus has to convert into some other form because copper 2 plus is blue. It has to convert to copper 0. In that case it is getting reduced and iron is getting oxidized. It's been clearly indicates. Formation of iron pentacarbonate from iron. So you know that always CO ligand, see this neutralizes CO ligand, I can say stabilizes neutral valencies. Neutral valencies of any metal via back bonding. So what you call synergic bonds. Okay, so always CO ligands have for any metal, it's either in a d block metal, whenever you join with a metal having vacant d orbital, they maintain the neutral valencies in which they don't want the metal to go to any higher oxidation states because of the synergic effect. Synergic means you know that it's equal stability. Synergic bond means the equal stability between the ligand and metal. That means the ligand want to stabilize the metal, metal want to stabilize the ligand. That kind of equal strengthable bond we call it as synergicity. And because of that, whenever any metal bound to CO doesn't oxidize any metal. It gets stabilized in neutral valencies. Now, so the option should be 2 in which there is no oxidation of iron occurs because it's being a coordination compound of CO, which is a neutral ligand. Everyone knows it is a neutral ligand. So, and a neutral ligand doesn't polarize the metal that much. The liberation of hydrogen from steam. You may be knowing this reaction, liberation of hydrogen from steam by iron at high temperature. This reaction is called as Lane's process. This is the only process which we have to prepare hydrogen, one of the standard laboratory method to prepare hydrogen, Lane's process, in which the the iron in the steam is highly reactive because mostly steams are more reactive. That's why we go for the steam. Steam iron is highly reactive. We convert that into, we make the steam to react with the water, iron with the steam. Steam means water at very high temperature in the form of gaseous form. So steam water is highly reactive that can react with the iron. Hence iron form iron oxide, it reduces the steam into H2. That means iron being a weak reducing agent, it can reduce steam at very high temperature. It's called Lane's process. Rusting of iron sheets, there in NCERT, rusting of iron sheets. Of course, rusting in which the iron converts to Fe2O3.XH2 in which iron again is in +3 oxidation state. Again iron get oxidized. So in which case iron doesn't get oxidized is in option 2. It's clearly visible, answer 2.